The quote, "A woman is the only thing I am afraid of that I know will not hurt me," attributed to Abraham Lincoln, is a fascinating statement that invites exploration of its meaning, context, and implications. While there's no definitive evidence that Lincoln actually said or wrote this exact phrase, it's often cited in discussions about his wit, emotional depth, and views on relationships. Let's break it down in detail, considering its possible interpretations, historical context, and psychological nuances. Literal interpretation. At its surface, the quote suggests a paradox. Lincoln claims to fear women, yet acknowledges they pose no real danger to him. This could reflect a humorous or self-deprecating remark about his personal experiences with women, particularly in romantic or emotional contexts. The fear he describes isn't physical but likely emotional or psychological, stemming from the complexity, unpredictability, or influence women might have had in his life. Fear without harm. The phrase "will not hurt me" implies that this fear is not rooted in a threat of physical or malicious harm. Instead, it could point to the vulnerability one feels in intimate relationships, where emotional stakes are high. Lincoln might be expressing a sense of awe or trepidation about the power women hold in personal interactions, perhaps through love, rejection, or influence. Humor and wit. Lincoln was known for his sharp wit and folksy humor. The quote could be a playful exaggeration, meant to amuse while hinting at a deeper truth about his feelings toward women or relationships. Historical and personal context. To understand the quote, we need to consider Lincoln's life and his relationships with women, particularly his mother, stepmother, and wife, Mary Todd Lincoln. Lincoln's relationships with women. Nancy Hanks Lincoln, mother. Lincoln's mother died when he was young, which deeply affected him. Her absence may have shaped his views on women as figures of profound emotional significance, yet elusive or difficult to fully understand. Sarah Bush Johnston, stepmother. Lincoln's stepmother was a nurturing figure who encouraged his education and growth. Her positive influence might have contributed to his respect for women, but also an awareness of their emotional impact. Mary Todd Lincoln, wife. Lincoln's marriage to Mary Todd was complex. Mary was intelligent, ambitious, and strong-willed, but also emotionally volatile, especially after the loss of their children. Lincoln's fear could reflect the challenges of navigating her temperament or the emotional intensity of their relationship. Yet, the phrase "will not hurt me" suggests he trusted her fundamentally, despite difficulties. 19th century gender dynamics. In Lincoln's era, women were often idealized as moral and emotional anchors of the family, yet they were also subject to societal constraints. Lincoln, a man of deep empathy and introspection, might have been acutely aware of the power women held in private spheres through love, influence, or emotional connection, which could feel intimidating to a man navigating personal and public life. Psychological and emotional layers. The quote can be seen as a reflection on the universal human experience of vulnerability in relationships, particularly with women in a romantic or familial context. Vulnerability in love. Lincoln might be expressing the fear of emotional exposure that comes with loving someone deeply. Opening oneself to a woman in a romantic sense involves risking rejection, misunderstanding, or loss, fears that don't necessarily imply harm but can feel overwhelming. The power of influence. Women, especially in Lincoln's personal life, may have represented a force he respected but found difficult to control or predict. This could align with the idea that women's emotional intelligence or social influence could unsettle a man accustomed to rational decision-making. Self-awareness. The quote reveals a level of self-awareness, as Lincoln acknowledges his fear while simultaneously recognizing its irrationality. "Will not hurt me." This suggests a man grappling with his own emotions, a theme consistent with Lincoln's documented struggles with melancholy and introspection. Cultural and literary interpretations. The quote can also be analyzed through a broader cultural or literary lens. Romantic idealization. In literature and culture, women have often been portrayed as enigmatic or powerful figures. Think of muses, goddesses, or romantic ideals. Lincoln's statement could reflect this archetype, where women inspire both reverence and trepidation. Humor as deflection. Lincoln often used humor to deflect from personal vulnerabilities. By framing women as something he fears, he might be playfully acknowledging their influence while avoiding a deeper discussion of his emotions. Universal appeal. The quote resonates because it captures a relatable human experience. The fear of something, or someone, we know is not inherently dangerous but still holds immense power over us emotionally. Possible misattribution. It's worth noting that the authenticity of this quote is uncertain. Lincoln's speeches and writings are well documented, but this particular phrase doesn't appear in his verified works. It may have been apocryphally attributed to him, as many pithy sayings are, to enhance his image as a wise, relatable figure. If apocryphal, the quote still aligns with Lincoln's reputation for introspective and humorous commentary on human nature. Modern relevance. In today's context, the quote can spark discussions about gender dynamics, emotional vulnerability, and the complexities of relationships. It highlights how fear in relationships often stems not from danger but from the uncertainty and depth of emotional connection. For modern audiences, it might prompt reflection on how societal expectations around gender influence our perceptions of intimacy and power. Conclusion. Abraham Lincoln's supposed quote, "A woman is the only thing I am afraid of that I know will not hurt me," encapsulates a blend of humor, vulnerability, and respect for the emotional power of women, whether authentic or not. It reflects Lincoln's complex character, his ability to confront his fears with self-awareness and wit. The quote invites us to consider the universal experience of fearing those we love, not for the harm they might cause, but for the profound influence they wield over our hearts and minds. In Lincoln's case, it may also hint at his personal experiences with the women who shaped his life, from his mother to his wife, set against the backdrop of a society that both revered and constrained women's roles.